Hey guys, welcome back. Today I will be building a Suburban Cottage Sims 4 home. This is a speed build. I do not use custom content here, but I do use some debug items. So those are items that you can just find in the Sims world. They aren't available to build, but you can find them with a code, a cheat code. That's easy enough to look up. You can see I started out with a whole bunch of items in the yard. So those were items I picked out from the debug selection prior to the build. Just kind of gave me some ideas of where I wanted to go. It actually helped me build kind of the look and feel of this house in particular. You can see I have some cars there, so a lot of landscaping, and then just some miscellaneous items that I planned on using in the house, and the ones that I don't, I just sort of delete towards the end. So here I'm kind of building out the structure of this home, kind of keeping it a cute little family style, suburban sort of cottage feel. And then I'll be building this out with a ton of landscaping, which was really fun in this build in particular. So adding in some different textures on the outside, using some brick, some siding, which is great from the Cats and Dogs expansion pack. Give it kind of this suburban feel, and used a lot actually from that pack to kind of emulate what I was going for here. I'm then messing around with a lot of landscaping. I was watching some speed builds recently and was kind of inspired to do a little bit more with landscaping than I typically do, and there's no time like building a suburban type home, kind of cottage feel, so you'll see that here. I had this idea randomly when I found this big long tree, big tall tree in the debug items to build a tree house. So you can see here, this will kind of be for the kids. I imagine this with some young kids, maybe a smaller family, but I added this tree house in here, which I actually loved how it turned out. One of my more favorite things I've built, and would like to do more with that in the future. So I'm kind of just building out the structure and then I go in with some details around the landscaping. So this was kind of heavy landscaping in the beginning before I go in and actually design the interior. Those cars aren't functional from the debug menu, but kind of look like they are and kind of fit the look of the home, so I went with it. Here just adding some edits. I made the inside a little bit bigger before finishing off this nice wraparound porch that will lead into this backyard sort of oasis, really family-centric sort of feel. I go ahead and add this fire pit from Island Living, some little stools there, and then go in and just start kind of carving and shaping what the outside will look and feel like. So in this area here, in the back, I pulled some fruit trees from debug. You can get those anyway in regular game mode, but pulled those in, made this a little garden area, and then pulled this pond here from the debug menu as well. So it's kind of sort of this pond, then treehouse, bonfire area, and then garden. So really, really liked how that turned out. I then started to go on the inside, started to shape out what that might look like. You can see there's still quite a bit of cleaning up to do in the front yard. Still have a lot of items, but it'll all come together in the end. I pull apart some of these items. I know I kind of had an idea with what I wanted to do with them in the beginning, but as I kind of go, I pull in different items here. So now I'm just kind of shaping out the interior structure. It's a little bit of a smaller home than I typically work with, but it was nice because it was a little bit of a challenge for me, which is always fun. Love to keep things interesting, of course. I guess then I went in with more landscaping. So here this took a while to get all these rocks and kind of the pavement laid out. So you go in here, this is in regular build, you don't need debug for this, but really went to shape through along the path these rocks, these stones, just to keep it a little bit more clean. That's one thing I don't love about the painted on, especially with the bricks and such, is kind of that like pixelated look towards the edge of it, that I'm not a huge fan of, but it's kind of a simple fix if you have these rocks, and adds a little bit more detail. Obviously, this takes a long time, so you got to be patient with it, but I loved how it turned out in the end. I then go in and have these kind of like flower beds that line the paths. It makes it really feel kind of like romantic, very cottage feeling, really heavy in the landscaping. I like to imagine that the people living here would be, into gardening, like to be outdoors, maybe entertain outdoors. So this part was really fun, and it's really not something that I've done with sim homes in the past. So I thought this actually turned out looking pretty nice, and I just kind of add in details, go in randomly, use a lot of the same bushes to keep it somewhat consistent, but really just kind of go in with a heavy hand. Here I found these like hanging flower baskets. Those were from some debug items, and fill those in. Go in here, outline the driveway. I'm just trying to make everything look really clean, really intentional. Again, covering up sort of the painted on brick as it transitions into the grass. So I then go in and finish out this tree house. Really just kind of a play area for kids. Different levels. This first level is kind of like this play toy area, and the other is kind of this more almost like livable area. So I have a little like activity table and tent there that turns out nice. So I love that. I then go in and I'm just adding some finishes to the outside. This was debug item. I really like these fences. I wish these were available just in regular gameplay, but only took a little bit to find them, and I really ended up liking how this fence turned out. It looks way different than the regular build sort of fences that you can make, so I thought that was a nice finishing touch. Kind of that stone, again, keeping it kind of like romantic, fantasy-like, and then go back in to finish off the inside of the home. So took a little bit to figure out what I wanted to do with the small space that I had, but I ended up going kind of with this like mix of traditional and modern. I almost want to call it transitional, but I could be wrong, sort of feel. So I go in sort of heavy with the decorating and try to be really creative. I typically use custom content in my builds, but I do like to challenge myself and just use kind of the regular gameplay items that you just get with expansion packs or the base game. So kind of challenged myself here in making these all work. I ended up moving things around quite a bit to make it a little bit more customized, but with this being such a small space, I used a lot of light colors while still trying to make it feel like warm, which you kind of get with sort of like blocked off rooms in small spaces. So I liked how this turned out. Then found these like pergolas, like these awning things, and added them to the garden, which I liked how that turned out too. Then go in here and play around with what the kitchen will look like. I kept it pretty white and minimalistic, and then added these like copper details throughout, which I really liked. I thought it like made it less modern and kind of like sterile looking. And went in with some dishes. I didn't add cabinets. That's kind of been my new thing, is just adding these shelves. And then I think that kind of like opens up the room, makes it feel a little bit bigger too. I go in with sort of this small countertop space with just a couple of bar stools. I imagine this home's accommodating just to a small family, maybe. I think I ended up actually creating 3 bedrooms, maybe 4. So a decent sized family, but made sure to add a lot of seating around the eating area so we didn't really run into trouble during the actual gameplay. So I finished off the main living spaces, and then have this area over here that I kind of have to figure out what to do with. I ended up adding this bathroom right off the front entrance. It's always nice to have bathrooms on the main floor. because Sims needs decay so fast and they always have to go to the bathroom. So I like to keep a bathroom on pretty much every floor if I'm building. To finish off this front porch, make it feel warm, inviting, welcoming. And then go in. I add this kind of like multi-purpose room. There's a piano in there, a desk with a computer, some artistic elements, and they can paint in there. Mess around with some of this wall art to get it how I want it. And this is kind of like just a multi-function, sort of like crafty, artistic, musical room that all the Sims can enjoy and use. Then had this kind of awkward space. Not like my most favorite room I've ever decorated before. I ended up making this little reading nook and then had this air hockey table, or foosball table, sorry. Here, just for some like entertainment, and then didn't do too much to dress up the room since it's kind of like this awkward sort of narrow space. So, but I imagine this would be kind of like a fun house to have like gameplay in, and then as the Sims have different interests and grow and get a little bit older, we can always mess around with the inside of that house or that room. One thing that I don't understand from Sims still is like when you're building these roof lines, how you can't really see like the inside. It kind of like cuts weirdly some of the roofs and into some of the rooms. You probably saw it in like the earlier part of this segment here, but I ended up just moving the roofs off and place them somewhere else, and I'll add them back on after I finish these rooms. But I end up creating 3 bedrooms. That was right. Yep, 3. So a master suite. This is what I imagine to be a boys' room. This is what I'm decorating right now, with a little bathroom. And then I go in and add 2 other rooms here. So one of these would be the master suite. I think this one shares a bathroom actually with the other room. So kind of go in with like minimalistic color scheme, minimalistic furniture, not to crowd the room too much. And then finish this one off here. Maybe this would be the master bedroom. I think it can be pretty flexible. I feel like when I'm doing these types of rooms, it can be kind of unisex and multi-purpose depending on what your family ends up being. And yeah, go ahead and make this Jack and Jill bathroom. So I got 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms upstairs. Finish those all off. Try to keep the theme sort of consistent with the colors while still making it kind of that cottagey suburban home feel. Then just clearing out some of the items that I had pulled in the beginning before ending here. I actually really liked how this home turned out. It's really fun. I feel like it's super functional. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all soon. Thank you.